I have no more campaigns to run. My only agenda, I know because I won both of them.
Oh, yes. I was happy for a second. I was happy for a second because he reminded me that, yes, he does not have any other campaigns to run, but then he also reminded me that, yes, it's because he won both of them. But it's okay. I mean, the next election he won't run, and we'll just run Mitt Romney again. Oh boy, we'll just run Mitt Romney again. We'll see, because, he lost 2 times before, but we'll just do that again. So we'll be okay. Thanks for reminding me. Not only that we lost, but how we lost. Oh, man. By the way, this is Beyond Reason Radio with your host, Michael Yaffee, as always. I figure I'd do a special edition today to respond to the State of the Union address, which I almost did not want to do. I almost did not want to do because it's all the same. It's not really about the State of the Union anymore and the state of our country anymore. It's just a political speech. And the response is just a political speech. It's almost like it's always just a show, a campaign speech, and it just, I don't know. It's fake. I can get an Obama political speech anytime I want. Why is this one any different? But I guess it's in our Constitution, and I guess it's important. So I'll just do this quick response to it. And by the way, I wish the Republicans could find a good candidate to respond to the State of the Union. Joni Ernst, I mean, she's great. I like her. She's conservative. She won, surprisingly in Iowa, first woman to win the Senate there. But her speech was not good. It just wasn't that good. She looked robotic. She looked uncomfortable. She didn't say anything that made me fired up, passionate, like she really believed in what she was saying. Is this the best we have? I mean, we have a chance in the next election to go against Hillary Clinton, who is not well liked, and we can't seem to find anyone on our side with any real charisma to go against it. So that's why people like Obama win, because we're not willing to really fight. And we had the Tea Party guy who did the Tea Party response. He did better. He made some good points, but Obama's a great speaker. He's much better. And by the way, I was responding last night to the State of the Union as it was happening. If you follow me on Twitter at Michael Yaffee, follow me on Twitter there. You can catch my response. I'm always commenting on there, so catch me on there. By the way, you can also follow our station. As you all know, I'm a producer of Bud Henninger Live as well. You can follow the station I work for, News Radio 1025, at News Radio 1025 as well. It usually pops up there. So my initial response, as I was saying before, to the State of the Union is that it's all the same. I mean, how many times do we hear this in our history? The Democrats want to tax the rich to give to the poor. Obama wants to do that again. Democrats want to propose some other free entitlement. Now it's free community college. It's free, even though nothing's free. They have to spend more money. They don't care. They're just going to pass it. They just want to do that. So another entitlement. I mean, I almost didn't want to do this show today because, well, the speech was beyond reason. It was beyond reason. It was just the same old, same old. And then I'm tired. I am tired of hearing presidents say, we need to get past politics and come together. We're so divided now and we just need to come together. Read our history, people. There's always going to be divisive politics. It's part of the nature of a free country. There's always going to be partisanship. There's always going to be politics. But that's a good thing that we have disagreements. It's a good thing that there's partisanship. I would much rather be divided under liberty than united under tyranny. And with what this president's proposing, it's, as some have said, soft tyranny. It's the government getting more and more control over your life. Yes, they're going to provide you quote-unquote free stuff, but when they provide you something, they also have control over that which they are providing you. And that is taking away your liberty. And it also costs money. That money, where does that come from? The taxpayers. That's your money. That's your liberty they're taking away. So, as I said before, I'd rather be divided under partisan politics under liberty than united under tyranny. So I'm just tired. It's just all the same. It never changes through history. It's all the same. But I figured I'd bring up some points here. And of course, Obama's clever. He is clever how he does his speech. I mean, just listen to what he said. Just listen to what he said about the minimum wage here.
And everyone in this Congress who still refuses to raise the minimum wage, I say this. If you truly believe you could work full-time and support a family on less than $15,000 a year, try it. If not, vote to give millions of the hardest working people in America a raise.
I actually have a better challenge for you. How about you try to raise a family under $0 a year? Try it. See if you could do that. I guarantee you can't, even though the government now just wants to provide everything for you. So maybe you could. But try to do it under $0 a year, because that's what's going to happen to a lot of people, because they're going to get laid off and lose their jobs. The businesses cannot afford to give everyone raises. And we all know the story. Minimum wage has legislated people out of the workforce. Less and less young people are getting into the workforce because wages are too high. The minimum wage before, lower wages would give young people the opportunity to start in the workforce, to get experience, to grow. Minimum wage jobs were never meant to be careers to provide for families, ever. Yet that's what we're doing. And we're saying, give a raise to millions of hard-working families. A raise is not $0. It's just poor economics. All the minimum wage has done is legislate people out of the workforce, 1, and 2, increased inflation exponentially. So yeah, everyone's getting paid more, but everything costs more, and then we are back where we started. When is it going to be enough? The point is, it will never be enough. Why don't we, if it's just that easy to just raise everybody's wages with a snap of a finger, with a clap of a hand, with a move of the magic wand. If it's that easy, why don't we just give everyone $1 million? Let's just raise everyone's wages to $1 million. They're hardworking people. They could live off of that very well. Of course, that won't work, though, because all it does is, 1, businesses couldn't afford the wages, so they would get rid of their employees, and 2, it would raise prices exponentially, so $1 million equals $1 today, and we are stuck to where we are before. The best way to raise wages is economic growth. Economic prosperity through the private sector, the production of more wealth. But that's not what's happening. We're not producing more wealth. We're not producing more productivity, more services, a bigger economy. All we are doing is redistributing wealth. That's Obama's plan. And all we are doing is moving around the money that's already there instead of producing more wealth, instead of producing a bigger economy. And speaking of that, there was one point that Obama made in his speech that no one's talking about that I found very interesting. And it shows just how, beyond reason, their mindset is. He was talking about new jobs for the 21st century. New jobs for the 21st century. This is what he said about this.
Our manufacturers have added almost 800,000 new jobs. Some of our bedrock sectors, like our auto industry, are booming. But there are also millions of Americans who work in jobs that didn't even exist 10 or 20 years ago. Jobs at companies like Google and eBay and Tesla. So no one knows for certain which industries will generate the jobs of the future.
He's right. No one does know for certain, and that's the point. See, the government under Obama is trying to shift the economy in certain ways, manipulate it through whatever green energy. They want to invest in certain areas, even though he admits no one knows for certain where it's going to go. That's why government control doesn't work. because we don't know how a free economy is going to go. And the best way to let an economy grow and to let jobs grow is to leave it alone, to stay out of the way. And he talks about the auto industry is booming. You know why the auto industry is booming? Because foreign automakers are coming here and selling here and hiring employees here. It's not the American auto companies that are booming. Ford did okay without a bailout, but it's really the foreign companies. And why are they booming? Because they're going in southern states that are right-to-work states, and they're getting around the union laws, and they're hiring their employees with real wages instead of going bankrupt by paying huge wages, huge pensions, huge benefits. Instead, they're growing because they're going in free states with free enterprise, free economics outside of corrupt union control. So that's why the auto industry is booming. But did you notice he was talking about 21st century's jobs? It will be in places like Google and eBay and Tesla. There was one place that jobs could grow that he did not mention. A new technological innovation through the smartphone app phenomenon, Uber and Lyft. He didn't mention those. Why? Because Democrats in many cities, Democrat mayors, Democrat governors, the federal government are trying to regulate Uber and Lyft out of the market. See, that is a great example, which he just happened to forget to mention. Uber is a great example of free enterprise in work. Young people who wanted to start a business, who had an innovative product, who put that product on the market to compete with what's going on, and the government doesn't like it because they can't get their money on it, because they're in bed with the taxi companies who pay huge permits and fees and all this stuff that's getting in the way of it. So instead of the government embracing a new product, embracing the competition, embracing free enterprise, it's usually Democrats like here in Orlando, Democrat Buddy Dyer, who want to regulate it out of business. A perfect example of how government control gets in the way of free enterprise. And we wonder why job creation really isn't happening. Yeah, we've had some job creation, but we have more people out of the workforce than ever. We have more young people unemployed than for decades. Then we have underemployment is huge, mostly because of Obamacare. And that the cost of things are going up. The cost of healthcare is going up, but Obama's getting lucky. He's getting lucky because gas prices are down. That's the only reason the economy has done any well, is because the fracking oil boom, which, by the way, Obama was against. Obama was against fracking. Most of the drilling is done in private lands. We could do even more drilling if we opened up places like Anwar and have even more supply, but he didn't want to do that. So he's basically just getting lucky from the oil gas prices. But he mentioned the economy of the future, but everything he's doing is like what Rubio said, is economics of the past. Economics of the future is letting the free market work. Instead of paying for community college, let's get the government out of colleges, and maybe kids will go to more technical schools so they can get in college quicker. It's more affordable. They can get out of it, and they can get good technical jobs earlier. That would help expand the economy, but he doesn't propose anything like that. It's an old system because it's government control. See, Obama doesn't really like companies like Uber because they're out of the reach of the government control. They can't get their hands in the pockets of Uber. So he talks about command economies. I mean, really, I could go through this whole speech, line by line, and tell you why things are wrong. Tax the rich to help the poor hasn't worked. It's never worked. It's socialism. Socialism doesn't work. ISIS, we're fighting against ISIS and the world is safer, he says. I just read a story yesterday about how ISIS is executing hundreds of Iraqis for watching a soccer game. I also saw pictures of crucified Christians in Iraq executed by ISIS, and ISIS is spreading. We're safer? And then he talked about how America works with strong diplomacy. Strong diplomacy? You didn't even show up for the Paris rally. That was the best diplomacy you could have done to support our European allies against radical Islam, and you didn't show up. So how are the countries liking us even more? This is what's happening. It's beyond reason. I almost don't even want to watch these speeches anymore. So I don't know. Maybe next year I won't. We'll see. But you've been listening to Beyond Reason. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Michael Yaffee. Follow the station on Twitter at News Radio 1025. And follow the station on Twitter at WFLA Orlando. Catch me on Bud Henninger Live every morning 6 to 9 as I am the producer. And I'll probably have a new podcast up this week. Thanks for listening to Beyond Reason Radio.
I couldn't sleep, I had to listen.